Previously, Jiyoung had made it clear that if Sang Ji-yu interfered between him and Lee Yeji, they would end their friendship. When Jiyoung confronted Sang Ji-yu, he asked if Sang Ji-yu understood the situation. In response, Sang Ji-yu begged Jiyoung to let go of his wrist as he collapsed, asking if Jiyoung valued Lee Yeji more than their friendship. Jiyoung admitted he still saw Sang Ji-yu as a friend but then left with the rest of the group. As Jun Min and Chai Yoon walked away, Sang Ji-yu yelled at Jun Min, accusing him of betraying their friendship. Jun Min grabbed Sang-gu's hair and questioned their friendship himself before leaving. Sang Ji-yu felt deceived and thrown aside, but he blamed Jiyoung for everything. Meanwhile, Jiyoung checked on Lee Yeji, concerned about her face, and suggested she go to the hospital since Myung-jun and Young Jian were going there to see Ji Hyeon. Lee Yeji agreed to go with them. Elsewhere, Do Park arrived at the entrance of the Red Dragon Underground Arena, nervous but trying to look composed. He showed a VIP card, surprising the security guard, and walked in. In the bathroom, he met a bald man who complained about the lack of tissues and wiped his hands on Do Park's clothes. This annoyed Do Park, but he restrained himself for the sake of Gai Sang. Another man questioned how Do Park got into the arena and threw his cap down in frustration. Unable to hold back any longer, Do Park punched the man, knocking him out. The bald man then asked if Do Park was there to fight. Do Park wasn't initially there to fight, but he ended up punching the bald man too. After realizing the bald man had faked being knocked out to avoid more hits, Do Park washed his blood-covered hands and found that there were indeed tissues, which led him to hit the bald man once more. Do Park then sat down, taking in his surroundings, when a member of the Red Dragon Gang became suspicious, wondering if he might be a cop, and questioned why he was there. Do Park explained that he got in using a VIP card, which surprised the man. Feeling nervous, Do Park admitted that one Hyo, whom he described as a close friend, gave him the card. The man, who introduced himself as Gi-do, quickly apologized. Curious about the place, Do Park asked for details, and Gi-do told him that during the week it served as a fight club, attracting gangsters and independent fighters eager to show off their skills. Good fighters might get noticed and could be recruited by the Red Dragon Gang. Do Park felt uneasy upon realizing that the fight club was a means for the Red Dragon to bolster their ranks, especially since Gi-do mentioned an upcoming showdown with the Fire Bear Gang. Gi-do shook Do Park's hand, saying he hoped to see him around. Then, Do Dam, One Hyo's father and the leader of the Red Dragon, arrived. He noticed the boss seemed more composed than the Fire Bear leader and saw that gang members wore red ties, but those close to the boss wore yellow, which made him suspect that those in red might be impersonating the Fire Bear gang to stir up trouble. This frustrated Do Park. As the boss sat down and called for the event to start, a group arrived with the host, Won Young. The competition was about to begin, but the fighter Kim Dae-mok was nowhere to be found. Gi-do begged Do Park to step in for the missing fighter, who turned out to be the bald man Do Park had punched earlier in the bathroom. Seeing an opportunity to learn about the Red Dragon's strength, Do Park agreed to fight. In the ring, Do Park faced his opponent, Hayashi Kim, who unexpectedly drew a sword. Despite being caught off guard, Do Park confidently raised his hand, causing confusion before he revealed his own weapon, a trusty wrench. As Hayashi charged, Do Park tried to defend himself with the wrench, though he wasn't sure if he could manage the situation. As Do Park successfully defended himself from the attack, he knew he needed a different plan as Hayashi Kim geared up for another strike. To everyone's surprise, Do Park dropped his wrench and asked to fight with just his fists. Hayashi Kim was initially taken aback but agreed to the fair fight. Do Park moved first, grabbing Hayashi's robe, trying to throw him down, only to find out it was just a robe. Hayashi Kim seized this moment and punched Do Park in the face. Caught off guard by Hayashi's speed, Do Park was hit again. As Hayashi launched more punches to Do Park's stomach and face and tried another kick, Do Park caught his leg and punched him in the face. Do Park continued to punch Hayashi Kim, driving him back against the fence. The Red Dragon boss, watching the fight, was impressed by Do Park's raw fighting ability, realizing he wasn't formally trained but had a natural talent for brawling. When Hayashi Kim passed out, the fight was halted and Do Park was declared the winner. Then Kim Min-woo showed up, pointing out to Jeon-woo that an interesting new fighter had entered the scene. Meanwhile, the trio reached the hospital and met Ji Hyeon, who was thrilled to see them and shared that she'd be leaving the hospital soon. As Do Park observed the next fight, he was worried about facing Seo Dal, who displayed formidable strength. The third match began with Hyo Gyun and Go Won-il. Go Won-il's kicks and swipes were ineffective against Hyo-gyun, who ended the match with a single, powerful punch that knocked out Go Won-il. Hyo-gyun then shouted a challenge to Jeon-woo, who was with Kim Min-woo. Jeon-woo got the boss's permission to join the fight. Do Park wondered if Kim Min-woo could be Eun Chan-woo since they looked alike. Gi-do told Do Park that Jeon-woo was the Red Dragon Gang's rising new star and was only 18, still in his second year of high school, which shocked Do Park. As the fight began, Jeon-woo skillfully dodged a punch and countered with an uppercut, followed by a punch to the face that knocked his opponent out cold. Watching this, Do Park was shaken by the skill he witnessed and realized he had to lose his next match to avoid facing Jeon-woo. Meanwhile, Jiyoung and Jong-sok were honing their skills during a training session. Jiyoung lunged at Jong-sok, using his grip strength to land a surprise blow to Jong-sok's side, even through the body armor. The liver shot took Jong-sok down, making him realize that Jiyoung had not only a powerful grip but also mastery over 3 distinct types of grip strength. Jong-sok grinned, suspecting they might have just discovered Jiyoung's new move. In the arena, it was Do Park's turn to face Seo-dal. Do Park intended to throw the match, but he was unexpectedly faced with Seo-dal's weak punches. The crowd began to get restless, shouting for a real fight. Annoyed, Do Park threw a punch at Seo-dal's face, which got the crowd excited. He tried to target Seo-dal's legs to bring him down, but the size difference was too much, and he failed. Eventually, Do Park found himself in a headlock. He could have escaped but instead chose to tap out, feigning unconsciousness to ensure his loss. Kim Min-woo observed the match from a distance, pondering if he recognized Do Park. After the match, Gi-do praised Do Park's performance and suggested he get proper training with the Red Dragon Gang. Do Park turned down the offer but accepted Gi-do's business card in case he reconsidered later. Satisfied with gaining Gi-do's trust, Do Park made his way out. Gi-do advised him to stay for the final match, and Do Park agreed. As he watched, he discreetly took a photo of Kim Min-woo and recorded the fight between Jeon-woo and Seo-dal. Seo-dal threw the first punch but Jeon-woo dodged quickly and hit Seo-dal in the stomach. Seo-dal staggered, barely staying upright after a hit to the face. When the referee checked on him, Seo-dal insisted he could continue. In the meantime, the Red Dragon boss told Gi-do to keep an eye on Do Park and try to get him to join their gang. Gi-do had already given Do Park his card when he was commended by the boss. During the match, Seo-dal kept throwing punches at Jeon-woo, but none of them landed. When Seo-dal lunged for another punch, Jeon-woo countered with a sharp uppercut, promptly ending the fight. After he finished secretly recording the match, Do Park left, with Kim Min-woo watching him closely. Later on, Do Park met up with his guys to share the intel he'd collected, including a photo of someone he thought was Eun Chan-woo. To his friend Sang's astonishment, the photo turned out to be of Kim Min-woo, revealing that a member of the Fire Bear Gang was in the Red Dragon arena. Just as Guy Sang was about to make a call, Jae-wook stopped him, urging him to put down the phone. Jae-wook revealed that the person impersonating the Fire Bear Gang was likely Kim Min-woo, catching Guy Sang off guard. Jae-wook suspected that C1 was in the know but wouldn't betray the Fire Bear Gang for nothing, hinting he might have a plan. They agreed to keep this revelation to themselves. Jae-wook then shared his plans to visit the young master's siblings, which surprised Guy Sang, who was unaware that the young master had any. Jae-wook theorized that C1 might be assisting another sibling in the bid to succeed Jiyoung's father as the leader of the Fire Bear Gang, who had not yet chosen a successor. As Do Park was about to leave, Guy Sang impressed upon him the importance of keeping the situation under wraps and to look out for Jiyoung, which Do Park agreed to. Right then, Do Park got a call from Won Hyo, who seemed to be aware of Do Park's recent actions and requested a meeting. Meanwhile, after Jiyoung and Jong-sok wrapped up their training session, Myung-jun briefed them on a new strategy as they walked towards the Mujin High neighborhood. They ran into the 2 girls who had previously escaped from Guy Sang. The girls introduced themselves and offered to exchange information over drinks at a nice spot. As one of the girls served a drink, Jiyoung assumed it was non-alcoholic and took a sip, not realizing it was actually alcoholic. The girls started talking about Mujin High and brought up the 7 executives, including their boss, Dae Wong. The 7th executive, Kim Woon-sik, is strong but not very bright. The 6th, Ju Wook, isn't much of a fighter but always has a weapon on him. The 5th, Park Han-byul, looks innocent but is actually skilled in combat. Choi Byung-ho, the 4th, might not excel in fighting, but he's the one who provides financial backing. The 3rd is Lee Chong-min, who tends to pick on the weaker kids. The 2nd in command, Shin Ji-ho is probably the strongest and happens to be good friends with Do Park. And the top executive, Hyo Park, took over the #1 spot after Park Woo-jang vanished. Hyo Park is especially known for his muscular thighs, which he got from cycling. The girl wondered what Do Park and the student body president were up to, guessing that without them, Jiren High would have fallen apart a long time ago. Myung-jun dropped the news that Ji-young had beaten Won Hyo, which caught the girls off guard. As they were about to head out, Lee Yeji called Myung-jun, who teasingly called her by her nickname, Yi Jiz, which annoyed her. She asked them to meet her at the playground. When Young Ji-yeon and Lee Yeji got there, they found Myung-jun and Ji-young drunk. Ji-young was bragging about all the info they had gotten on Moojin High from the girls, which made young Ji-yeon anxious because Lee Yeji had spent so much time studying the school. They tried to act like they didn't know much, but Ji-young, not grasping the tension, spilled until he noticed Lee Yeji was upset. Myung-jun and Ji-young eventually confessed that they really needed Lee Yeji to help them win their upcoming fight. This seemed to cool her off, and she forgave them. As Lee Yeji started sharing what she knew, she pointed out that the Moojin High members went to different schools and delegated young Ji-yeon to lead a surprise attack on executives 7-3 since they walked to school by themselves. When Ji-young called out the sneakiness of the tactic, Lee Yeji explained that a direct confrontation with Moojin High was out of the question since they had way more people. Jong Sok convinced him that ambushing wasn't dishonorable, which got Ji-young back on board. Meanwhile, Do Park met up with Won Hyo, who showed him a recording of his fight and warned that if his dad found out about it, Do Park would end up dead. Won Hyo didn't want that to happen, so he made a deal to keep Do Park's actions a secret. But there's one more person they need to keep quiet. Won Young, the host from the arena and Won Hyo's older sister. Won Young suggests they grab coffee and talk. As they leave, Won Hyo is worried that he can't keep the situation at Moojin High under control anymore. Dae Wong calls a meeting with the executives and shares that Jiren High and Sangneom High have teamed up and taken down Moojin High. He points out that they haven't been attacked yet because they're seen as the strongest. The next day, they put their ambush plan into action, splitting into 4 teams to target executives 7-4. The ambush kicks off, and the first team quickly knocks out Kim Woon-sik, the 7th executive, using bats. The second team does the same to Ju Wook, the 6th executive. However, when the third team goes after Choi Byung-ho, the 4th executive, they're surprised to find he's not alone. He's with 2 other guys. But Chong-soo keeps the team focused, reminding them that they have 3 people as well. Meanwhile, young Ji-yeon is hiding, getting ready to ambush Park Han-byul, the 5th executive. As the previous team attacks and one of them lands a punch on Choi Byung-ho, Chong-woo snatches his phone away and stomps on him, taking him out of the fight. Back with young Ji-yeon, things go sideways when one of the Sangneom students rushes in too soon and gets beaten up immediately. Confused, young Ji-yeon questions what the rest are waiting for. While all this is happening, Ji-young is leaving his house and runs into Lee Yeji. They join up with Jong Sok and Myung-jun. Lee Yeji says her goodbyes to carry out the rest of the plan, and the trio continues towards Moojin High. Meanwhile, Dae Wong is confused and can't get in touch with the other executives. None of them are answering their phones. Suddenly, the door bursts open and in walks a trio led by Ji-young, catching them off guard. Ji-young asks Dae Wong why he's so surprised, reminding him of his promise to take down the Super Alliance. As the 5th executive hesitates, young Ji-yeon tries to punch him but gets kicked in the face instead. He's taken aback by the executive's strength. While other students try to tackle the executive, one gets knocked out with a swift kick, another is punched, and a third is kicked in the neck and drops to the ground. Park Han-byul is surprised when young Ji-yeon comes from behind and puts him in a chokehold. Even after being kicked in the legs, young Ji-yeon hangs on and manages to knock out Park Han-byul. After the scuffle, young Ji-yeon catches his breath and thinks over his success in taking down the executive. Dae Wong can't believe what's happening to the other executives and calls them cowards, but Ji-young isn't bothered by the insult. Ho Park is confused about why Myung-jun is fighting with them. Myung-jun suggests that they have scared the 3rd executive, Chong-min. Jong Sok is surprised by how talkative Chong-min is and wonders if he's always been like this. Chong-min, nervously, challenges Jong Sok to a fight, claiming he's outnumbered, but he's quickly punched in the face and knocked out, shocking the other executives. Jong Sok announces that the fight is now even at 3 against 3. Myung-jun is the first to move, trying to kick the top executive, who blocks it. They go back and forth in their fight. Meanwhile, Jong Sok squares off against Shin Ji-ho. Before they fight, Shin Ji-ho asks Jong Sok how much he can lift. Jong Sok answers that he never really counted, but it's around 600 kilograms, which angers Shin Ji-ho since his record is 580 kilograms. Shin Ji-ho throws a punch, but Jong Sok dodges it and lands a knee to his stomach. Ji-young warns Dae-wong to be careful because he has a new move that could be dangerous for his opponent. Dae-wong ignores the warning, but Ji-young Sok advises Ji-young to use it only when absolutely necessary because it could be life-threatening. While distracted by this exchange, Jong Sok gets punched in the face but insists he's fine, making Shin Ji-ho nervous. Dae-wong lands a punch on Ji-young, who blocks it but is still shocked by the power. Ji-young dodges the next punch but can't move away from the third, which hits him in the face. Ji-young figures out that he can't take on Dae-wong directly. He dodges a punch and gets in close, putting his hand on Dae-wong's collarbone to execute his pickaxe technique. Dae-wong gets mad, but then he notices blood on his hand. To his shock, Ji-young's fingers have gone right through his skin. Dae-wong starts to worry about winning without Ji-yeon-woo there. Ji-young goes for another hit, but Dae-wong, concerned, protects his collarbone, which leaves him open to a punch in the face. The pain makes him cry out, surprising everyone. Dae-wong says he's going to fight for real now and challenges Ji-young to use only his fists. Ji-young blocks a punch but then takes a kick to the stomach, which sends him back. Dae-wong comes at him with another punch, but Ji-young dodges it, grabs his hand, and flips him over. Dae-wong, getting annoyed by Ji-young's moves, dares him to use his special technique. He's scared Ji-young might actually do it and tries to guard his face and collarbone, but Ji-young manages to land the infinite pickaxe move anyway. Dae-wong screams in pain and drops to his knees, spent. Ji-young stands there with bloodied fingers, and Dae-wong's collarbone is wrecked. The other executives watching start to freak out at the sight. Ji-young proclaims his win and the fall of their so-called super asshole alliance. Suddenly, Dae-wong pulls out his phone, insisting he needs Ji-yeon-woo, thinking Ji-young has been underestimating him. Meanwhile, students from Jurin High and Sangneum High have tied up the other executives and are on their way to Mujin High. Just as Shin Ji-ho yells out Dae-wong's name, Jong Sok catches him off guard and trips him, making him crash face first into the ground. Shin Ji-ho boasts that they have a lot of people waiting outside and that no one will get out without a scratch. Ji-young insists he'll take care of things, which annoys his friends because he's going off script. He tells them about something his uncle Jae-wook said. Once the leader is down, the rest will fall into line. Myung-jun accepts it's time for Plan B. Hyo Park takes a swing at Myung-jun. He dodges and counters with a kick that sends Hyo Park's hat and glasses flying, exposing his pink hair. He yells at Chong Min to stop faking his injury and get their ride ready. As the ride comes into play, Myung-jun is thrown off by what's happening but then gets the gist. Hyo Park uses his speed to his advantage, hitting Myung-jun hard. As Hyo Park keeps circling, he unleashes a barrage of blows using his shadow clone technique and tells Myung-jun it's over for him. At the entrance of Mujin High, Lee Yeji is keeping an eye on the students gathered outside, ready to launch an attack when Young Ji-yeon's group arrives. But unexpectedly, Ji-young dashes out, bragging about beating Dae-wong. The students, however, aren't swayed, and their morale stays high. Lee Yeji had predicted this and quickly orders her squad to back Ji-young up, even without Young Ji-yeon's team. They jump into the fray to support Ji-young. Park Han-byul comes to but is still tied up. Ji-yeon-woo spots him and wonders if he's one of their own. Meanwhile, Hyo Park and Myung-jun are still going at it. Myung-jun is clearly worn out but insists he's not finished. Hyo Park looks ready to finish the duel by getting off his unicycle and wielding the top part as a weapon against Myung-jun. Jong Sok tries to help but gets blindsided by Chong Min and takes a hit to the face. As Myung-jun goes down, the three of them turn on Jong Sok. Unfazed, Jong Sok challenges them, evading Shin Ji-ho's punch and striking back. He then grabs Chong Min by the throat and starts hitting him, making Hyo Park anxious about the situation. Hyo Park whips out a knife from under his bike seat and charges at Jong Sok, but Chong Min and Ji-ho try to hold him back. Despite their efforts, Hyo Park accidentally stabs Jong Sok in the thigh. Jong Sok fights back, throwing Chong Min to the ground and elbowing Shin Ji-ho in the face. Hyo Park, frightened, threatens to stab Jong Sok again if he comes any closer. Jong Sok dares him to try and ends up getting punched in the face, which nearly knocks him out because he's losing so much blood. Outside the school, the situation heats up when Young Ji-yeon's team arrives and jumps into the fray. Lee Yeji is excited about their progress and messages Do Park. Then she spots someone entering the school, snaps a picture, and sends it to Du Park to see if he recognizes them. In the meantime, Jian-woo enters the fight and quickly knocks out a student from Juren High with one punch. Si-jun tries to attack, but Jian-woo punches him too, sending him reeling back towards Jiyoung. Jiyoung introduces himself as the head of Juren High and asks who Jian-woo is. Up on the rooftop, Gai Sang and other uncles are watching the commotion and speculate whether Jian-woo might be a member of the Red Dragon Gang in disguise. Jian-woo announces he's returning to Mujin High and punches Zhang, who manages to block the punch but still ends up crashing into a brick wall. Li Yeji is stunned by the turn of events. Jiyoung, realizing the strength of Jian-woo, knows he has to use his best move or he's done for. The uncles on the roof are concerned, and Gai Sang suggests they should call Jae-wook to let him know they're on the brink of a war with the Red Dragon Gang. Despite being hit repeatedly, Jian-woo stands strong and hits back, slamming Jiyoung into the wall, leaving him bloody and in pain. Jiyoung struggles to stay calm and avoid using his secret technique. Jong-sok helps Myung-jun up, and they both watch the showdown between Jiyoung and Jian-woo. Jian-woo seems interested in a fight with Jong-sok, but Jiyoung gets up, ready to keep battling. Myung-jun updates Li Yeji and Young Jian about their injuries, and Jong-sok quickly bandages up his stab wound as Jian-woo prepares for another attack. Jiyoung swiftly dodges and takes the opportunity to unleash his most powerful move. With just one shot to make it work, he strikes a precise hit to Jian-woo's liver, forcing him to his knees. Their group cheers, but their celebration is brief because Jiyoung is suddenly hit in the stomach. He can't believe his signature move didn't end the fight. As Jian-woo approaches, he announces that Juren High is now under the control of Mujin High. Jiyoung insists the battle isn't over, but Jian-woo declares it finished, which makes Gai Sang furious, although he's held back from stepping in. Suddenly, Jong-sok steps in and points out that Jiyoung had already fought against Mujin High's leader and wasn't fighting at full strength as he positions himself in front of Jiyoung to face Jian-woo. Gai Sang, watching from afar, feels proud and comments that Jong-sok is always welcome to join the Firebear gang. As the fight is about to escalate, Jian-woo attacks Jong-sok, who manages to block the punch but still feels the impact, which leaves him wounded. As Jian-woo's next punch comes in, Jong-sok grabs his hand and tries to flip him, but the pain in his thigh makes him buckle, causing Jian-woo to hit his head on the ground. Jian-woo gets up, to the shock of everyone, and thanks Jong-sok for the unintended neck massage. Gai Sang observes with a mix of concern and admiration, noting that Jian-woo could have been seriously hurt from that fall. Jian-woo takes off his shirt and goes at Jong-sok with another punch. Jong-sok, injured, manages to block it, but he's unsure how long he can keep this up with his injured leg. He fights back, and they exchange a rapid succession of blows. Jong-sok starts bleeding from the side of his head, and Myung-jun feels responsible, thinking that if only he had defeated Hyo Park, Jong-sok wouldn't have been stabbed. Despite reaching his limit, Jong-sok refuses to give up. He taunts Jian-woo to come at him again. As Jian-woo's punch misses, Jong-sok counters with a hard body shot to the same spot Jiyoung had hit earlier. Jian-woo starts feeling the impact of the fight and, getting angry, hits Jong-sok directly where he's hurt. To Jian-woo's surprise, Jong-sok keeps standing, so he hits him again in the thigh, dropping Jong-sok to his knees as the beating continues. Jiyoung gets angry and tries to step in, but Li Yeji holds him back, asking Young Jian for help to restrain him. Jian-woo then lands a heavy kick to Jong-sok's head, making his vision blur from the blood loss, but Jong-sok gets up again. Myung-jun feels guilty and considers going back to the school to get the knife Hyo Park used. Then, Du Park shows up and attempts to settle Myung-jun down. Jian-woo thinks the fight is over, but then he's hit in the head unexpectedly. Jian-woo tells Du Park to leave, but Du Park reveals that Jong-sok is his beloved younger brother. Recognizing Du Park from an underground fight arena, Jian-woo accuses him of throwing a fight to avoid facing him. Du Park denies it, but Jian-woo keeps insisting, annoyed he never got to fight the head of the Super Asshole Alliance. Du Park defends himself, and Gai Sang, watching from afar, is proud to see his sharp and dependable junior stepping in. Unable to reason with Jian-woo, Du Park hits him in the already injured spot. Jian-woo yells out in pain and drops to his knees. Du Park notices Jian-woo is bleeding badly and realizes it must be from Jiyoung's earlier strike. As Jian-woo, weakening fast, starts acting desperately and lunges at Du Park and Jong Sok. Du Park catches his hand. Jong Sok delivers a powerful punch straight to Jian Woo's liver. Jian Woo spits out blood and collapses to his knees, leading Du Park and Jong Sok to think they've won the fight. The students from Mujin High are stunned by the turn of events, while their leaders debate whether to step in. Amidst their celebration, Dae Wong watches with a smirk, wondering if Jian Woo has truly been defeated. Jian Woo stands up again, ripping off his pants, leaving everyone shocked. Dae Wong announces that the true Jian Woo is back, now driven by fury. Attempting to strike, Jian Woo goes after Du Park, who dodges the attacks but is surprised by Jian Woo's sudden speed increase. Du Park starts to wonder if Jian Woo has lost his mind. As Du Park avoids an attack and hits him in the same vulnerable spot again, Jian Woo begins to swing wildly, making Dae Wong worry that he might lose control. In a last-ditch effort, Dae Wong signals for the other leaders to get involved. But then, the school bell rings, and the student council president questions Du Park about why he's involved in a fight after claiming he wouldn't be. Du Park insists he was attacked first. He's shocked by the intensity of the situation, not realizing at first that the person he thought was Dae Wong isn't actually him. Dae Wong spots him and is confused by his appearance. Dae Hyeon, noticing the extent of the injuries around, wonders who inflicted them. Jiyoung claims responsibility for taking down Dae Wong and is puzzled why the fight is still going on after the leader has been bested. Du Park attempts to explain that Jian Woo isn't listening to reason, but before he can finish, Jian Woo tries to land a punch on Dae Hyeon. Unfazed, Dae Hyeon takes the hits, realizing they're weak and that Jian Woo is seriously injured and on the verge of passing out. Deciding against fighting back, Dae Hyeon holds back a punch at the last moment, the air from the missed strike hitting Jian Woo, who then faints, to everyone's astonishment. Dae Wong tries to approach the collapsed Jian Woo, but Dae Hyeon tells him to stop, acknowledging their defeat and Mujin High's victory. Jiyoung shouts in celebration of their win, and as the group starts their victory celebration, the uncles observing the scene feel proud of their young charge. Jiyoung talks about throwing a congratulatory party, prompting the uncles to prepare for it. However, Gai Sang says he has something to attend to first. Du Park and Dae Hyeon carry Jian Woo off to the hospital, while Dae Wong tells his friends to go ahead without him, promising to catch up later. Suddenly, he feels a hand on his head. It's Gai Sang, holding a razor, surprising Dae Wong. Gai Sang casually remarks there's no need to worry about the rain since the razor is waterproof as he stands there ready to use it. At the Fire Bear Gang's capital branch, C1 is surprised by Kim Min Woo's failure. He apologizes, explaining that he didn't foresee Jian Woo's loss. C1 lashes out, saying he should have intervened, pointing out that he just stood by as Jiyoung dominated the region. Kim Min Woo explains he had planned to help but was worried about Gai Sang, who was watching from the school rooftop. C1 dismisses Gai Sang as an idiot and tells Kim Min Woo not to make excuses. Kim Min Woo promises to bring good news next time. C1 wonders how Gai Sang could have come up with such a plan and realizes it must have been Jae Wook, making them angry. After Gai Sang finishes shaving Dae Wong's hair, Dae Wong asks to leave, but Gai Sang reminds him they still have much work to do and instructs him to greet him properly. Dae Wong thanks him as he cries. As the rain stops, Dae Hyeon informs Du Park that he will take Jian Woo to the hospital alone and suggests Du Park talk to Myung Jun, who doesn't seem to be in good spirits. When they meet, Myung Jun explains feeling weak during the fight, and Du Park admits his weakness but emphasizes his strength in facing real men. He compares this to Jiyoung, who, instead of complaining, works on becoming stronger. They then ride to the hospital together. Meanwhile, Dae Hyeon arrives at the hospital with Jian Woo as the Fire Bear Gang leader, golfing with his wife, receives a call from C1 about Jiyoung's news. Hankook suggests she should cook for Jiyoung, but she replies that Jiyoung hates her food. He explains that Jiyoung needs a motherly touch, and as she tries to respond, he gives her a piercing stare. Back at home, the uncles are preparing a party for the young master. Taegon wonders where Gai Sang and Jae Wook are and calls Jae Wook, who tells him he won't be able to attend and reminds him to ensure Hung Soo and Jiyoung do not cross paths. After the call, Taegon tries to reach Gai Sang but is unsuccessful, leaving him to wonder what Gai Sang is doing. As Gai Sang takes Dae Wong to the hideout, Dae Wong is shocked to find 3 other bald individuals. Gai Sang sits down and instructs him to put on his new uniform, as he's now considered the 4th member. When one of them puts his hands on Dae Wong, he recognizes him as Day One, causing a panic. However, Gai Sang dismisses the significance, emphasizing that he's number 4 now and orders Dae Wong to change into the uniform, which he does. Gai Sang then questions Dae Wong about Eun Chan Woo, but Dae Wong's quiet reply frustrates the others, who threaten him. Gai Sang calmly instructs Dae Wong to call Chan Woo. Meanwhile, Ji-young expresses gratitude to Lee Yeji for her plan, acknowledging that he would have been in big trouble without her. Blushing, the two of them ride to his house together as the uncles finish up preparations. Taegon hears the doorbell, assuming it's the young master returning, but is surprised to find the boss and his wife, Hong-soo, have arrived. At the hospital, Dae Hyeon informs the nurse that he found Ji-yeon-woo unconscious on the street. The nurse tells him to wait until Ji-yeon-woo's guardian arrives. Suddenly, Kim Min-woo arrives, introducing himself as the guardian. As Myung-jun and Do Park pull into the hospital parking lot, Do Park warns Myung-jun not to remove his helmet. He spots a group of men with red ties, suspecting they may be from the Fire Bear gang. However, he notices a man with a yellow tie in a van, indicating he's a member of the Red Dragon gang. Do Park realizes they are in a precarious situation and walks into the elevator. He meets with Ji Hyeon and Dae Hyeon in the hospital, where Ji Hyeon expresses surprise upon learning that Lee Yeji is dating a gangster boss's son. In the adjacent room, Kim Min-woo is surprised that Ji-yeon-woo survives despite losing a significant amount of blood. He wonders if Ji-young's technique was taught by Jae-wook and holds Jae-wook accountable for ruining their plan. He apologizes to Ji-yeon-woo. Back at the house, as the boss settles into his seat, Hong-soo realizes that Ji-young can't confront her because his father is home, causing her to smile wickedly. When Ji-young arrives at the entrance, he notices his father's car and wonders if the woman is there too. When he enters, Taegon tries to bring up something important, but Ji-young walks past him. Taegon, now worried, repeatedly tries to call Gai Sang but with no success. As Ji-young approaches his father, he offers congratulations on uniting the region and suggests greeting his mother. This prompts frustration in Ji-young as he reminds his father that he only has one mother. Hankook interjects, pointing out that she is standing nearby and should be greeted. Ji-young marches over to her and firmly tells her to leave, grabbing her arm. His father steps in, questioning what he is doing and instructing him to release her. Ji-young refuses, staring defiantly at his father, demanding that he tell her to leave. With a smirk, his father asks if Ji-young is going to hit him. He repeats his request for Ji-young to let go, but Ji-young refuses. Hankook sneers, suggesting that Ji-young should release her so she can leave, catching both of them off guard. Hong-soo becomes frustrated, but Hankook declares that his son no longer needs her and orders her to leave, making her livid. Ji-young finally releases her bruised wrist and warns her not to set foot in their home again. She protests that Ji-young cannot forbid her from coming, but Hankook supports his son and commands her to depart. As she walks away, a sinister smirk spreads across her face, revealing that she has something sinister in mind. As they talk on the rooftop, his father inquires if Ji-young hates his mother to that extent. Ji-young clarifies that he doesn't hate his mother but rather the other woman. The father insists that Hong-soo is now his mother, but Ji-young sternly corrects him, saying he only has one mother, the one who raised and gave birth to him, the same mother who was kicked out by Hankook. He instructs Ji-young to speak respectfully and mentions that she left on her own. He claims that after his mother left, his father pushed him under Jae-wook and never visited him again. His father, however, asserts that he required an heir and wanted to ensure Ji-young had a mother to avoid any sadness. Ji-young begins to break down, questioning if he truly needs a mother. He wonders whether he should strive to be a good person again and accept the woman as his mother, as he previously stated, or if he should embrace his role as a bad person, as his father's heir. He tells his father to make a choice. His father chuckles and reassures him that if he doesn't need a mother, he won't force the issue. Apologizing to Ji-young, he catches him off guard, and they share a hug. Ji-young regains confidence and is determined to lead the Fire Bear gang. Meanwhile, Dae Wong is compelled to call Eun Chan Woo. Gai Sang instructs Eun Chan Woo to put the call on speaker. Urgently, Dae Wong requests a meeting. Suspecting that Dae Wong may have been caught, Kim Min-woo agrees to meet up after hanging up. Gai Sang tells him to change into their combat attire in preparation for their first fight together. Kim Min-woo mentions that today, he's not a Fire Bear gang member but rather Eun Chan Woo, the Tarzan legend of Mujin High. As Do Park leaves the hospital, he spots the same individual from the arena. Quickly taking a photo, he nearly gets caught. In the van, Kim Min-woo instructs his fellow gang members to wear their masks and remove their ties, warning them to prepare for the worst upon arrival. Despite some reluctance, Kim Min-woo stresses the importance of hiding their identities, suspecting that Gai Sang may have captured Dae Wong. This news causes the gang members to panic, fearing Gai Sang. Kim Min-woo manages to persuade them as they put on their masks and walk down into the lair. Upon encountering Gai Sang, who is seated, they prepare to attack, but just as they are about to strike, Gai Sang calmly orders, "Lights off," and his disciples, who had been instructed to keep their eyes closed, turn off the lights. Upon opening their eyes, they can see in the dark and swiftly attack the masked men. Gai Sang calls out to Eun Chan-woo, demanding an answer. One of the attackers pulls out a knife and lunges at one of Gai Sang's followers, delivering a slashing blow to the face and causing panic. Suddenly, the followers are hit from behind with a bat and collapse to the floor. The rest of the attackers are defeated, with Dae Wong claiming to have been saved. Gai Sang realizes that it was too soon to involve them in combat. Gai Sang swiftly dodges the knife, grabs the attacker's wrist, and breaks it with a punch, making him cry out. Another attacker attempts to swing a metal pipe, but Gai Sang blocks the blow and counters with a punch of his own. With only one henchman left, Eun Chan-woo proposes they attack together, which they do. Gai Sang dodges the incoming blow and punches the henchman in the stomach with his knuckle dusters. Eun Chan-woo tries to kick Gai Sang from behind, but Gai Sang blocks the hit using the henchman as a shield. Gai Sang delivers one final punch to the henchman before tossing him aside. Surprised by the skill gap, Eun Chan-woo launches an attack on Gai Sang with a kick, but it's easily blocked, much to his surprise. Chan-woo declares that he will demonstrate why he earned the title of Mujin High Legend. As Gai Sang moves in close, Chan-woo manages to land a punch to Gai Sang's stomach, making him angry. Having reached his limit, he begins his walnut breath technique and asks Chan-woo if he's done playing. He suddenly rushes towards Chan-woo, who has no time to react and gets punched in the leg, causing a bone to break. He shrieks in agony, surprised that his leg broke in one hit. Gai Sang then punches him in the face, causing him to fall back, and follows up with a punch to the stomach that launches Chan-woo into the air. Gai Sang jumps up and dives downward, headbutting him and knocking Chan-woo out. As the fight concludes, Gai Sang attempts to take off the mask. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji is deciding what to wear for Ji-young's congratulation party. She tries on a more feminine outfit, wondering if Ji-young would like it, but ends up settling for a more natural style in which she feels confident. As the rest of the group arrives at the entrance of Ji-young's house, Myung-jun is worried about the presence of gangster uncles inside. Do Park and Lee Yeji arrive, and as Taegon opens the door, Do Park greets him. Taegon informs them that the big uncle is inside. Dae Hyeon is taken aback by Ji-young's wealth, and as Ji-young and his father notice their arrival, Do Park greets him without realizing that he's not an uncle but his father. The father is pleased with their greeting, and as Dae Hyeon greets him, the father notices the band on his arm. Do Park quickly changes the writing on the band, palming the father down. He asks who the girl is, and Lee Yeji introduces herself as just a friend. The father mentions that he will leave her to take care of his son, to which she thanks him. He then adds that he approves of Lee Yeji as long as it's not Soo Jin who made his son kind. Meanwhile, as Gai Sang tries to remove the face mask, Dae Wong sneaks up behind him with a knife, contemplating whether to stab Gai Sang and escape with Chan-woo. He pauses, glancing back at Gai Sang, and decides to put the knife down, stating that he will make the right decision today. As the mask comes off, he sees that it's Kim Min-woo. Hoping it wouldn't have been him, he tells his followers to tie him up as well as the rest. As they secure the captives, Gai Sang thanks his followers and instructs them to keep a watchful eye. As he steps away from the lair, he's stunned by how Jae-wook managed to orchestrate everything. He checks his phone and sees several missed calls from Taegon. Taegon informs him that the boss has returned home with his wife, causing Gai Sang to panic. After ending the call with Taegon, Gai Sang contacts Jae-wook and learns that the person posing as the Fire Bear Gang was Kim Min-woo. He's told to prevent Kim Min-woo from communicating with C1, and Jae-wook will return in a few days. Jae-wook instructs Gai Sang to keep the information from the boss to prevent the Fire Bear Gang from collapsing. Dae Wong apologizes to Eun Chan-woo as they whispered to each other. However, when Gai Sang reappears and asks what they were talking about, they panic. Gai Sang warns the remaining members that if they let Eun Chan-woo escape, he will hunt each of them down and kill them. He instructs them to choose wisely, as they could start a new life as hairless numbers under Gai Sang, intending to treat them as subordinates of the Fire Bear gang, meaning they are part of the family. Gai Sang takes his leave, and Chan Wu asks the others to call for help, but they refuse, much to Dai Wang and Eun Chan Wu's surprise. They advise number 4 to choose his side carefully after seeing the Mu Jin Hai legend get crushed. Dai Wang has made up his mind and declares that he is no longer Dai Wang but number 4, and that Eun Chan Wu will soon be number 5, frustrating him. Back at the house, Gai Sang arrives, and the boss asks if he's ready to do what he was told, and that it's time to do it. Ji-young's father brings Ji-young to sit on a chair, and he wonders what's happening as Gai Sang tells him to stay still and don't move. Gai Sang was about to give a haircut, making Ji-young wonder if he even knew how to cut hair in the same style. Despite Ji-young's skepticism, Gai Sang confidently claimed to be a hairstyle expert. Ji-young's father reassured him that there was nothing to worry about, mentioning that Gai Sang cuts his hair all the time. Ji-young was surprised when his father informed him that he needed to show others he had become the Fire Bear's successor. He encouraged Ji-young to trust Gai Sang completely, and Ji-young allowed him to cut his hair. Gai Sang did his best, and when Ji-young opened his eyes to check the mirror, he was pleased with the results. His father suggested changing into new clothes to enhance the look, and Gai Sang offered to take care of it. Ji-young expressed his gratitude, and his father hugged him, thanking him for meeting expectations. Ji-young then suggested they eat, and his father instructed Gai Sang to bring the present. As Gai Sang opened the briefcase, Ji-young worried it might contain another knife but was surprised to find a case filled with medicine. His father and Gai Sang explained that the products used on his hair increased the risk of hair loss, advising him to take the medicine. Going downstairs, Ji-young's new haircut surprised all the uncles, who complimented him on how great it looked. He invited his friends to eat, and they were shocked by his hair. Lee Yeji was stunned to see Ji-young resembling the boss of the Fire Bear gang. During the meal, Myung-jun asked Ji-young about his plans now that he had defeated the Super Asshole Alliance. Reflecting on his journey, Ji-young started as a kind person for 10 years but became a bad person to follow his father's footsteps and make him proud. Despite losing Su Jin, he accepted the changes and had a new group of important people in his life. Ji-young declared his new objective to fulfill the role of the Fire Bear successor, meeting his father's expectations. He acknowledged that the path ahead would be challenging but was ready to face it with the support of friends and family willing to help him along the way. As Gai Sang finishes cleaning up the hair, his boss asks him about his biggest pet peeve. Gai Sang starts trembling and confesses that he can't stand liars. The boss then probes Gai Sang about where he went and why he arrived late, remembering Jae-wook's warning about keeping things secret to prevent the Fire Bear gang from collapsing. Gai Sang nervously lies, saying he was patrolling Ji-young's school route. Even though the boss senses Gai Sang is lying, he realizes there must be a reason for it. As the boss leaves, he instructs Gai Sang to take care of the young master, to which Gai Sang promises to do. The boss is proud of Jae-wook for handling family matters. Meanwhile, Jae-wook is sharing a meal with one of the young master's siblings, Ji-duke, who is 17 years old. Jae-wook explains that C1 is attempting to make another sibling the successor, surprising Ji-duke, who had heard rumors that Ji-young would be the successor. In a fit of anger, Ji-duke stands up and accuses C1 of betrayal. He suggests they visit Ji-young together to help him become the successor, but Jae-wook politely declines, expressing gratitude and mentioning he might need help later, just not at the moment. Ji-duke reminds Jae-wook of Ji-young's childhood nickname, initially thought to be Angel but was actually Deviled because Ji-young was a troublemaker in preschool. Ji-duke shares a significant memory of how Ji-young protected him during that time. Ji-young stood up for Ji-duke when he was teased for not having a mother. However, after Ji-young expressed the need to protect a certain girl, Su Jin, they lost contact. 10 years later, Ji-duke discovers he has more siblings and must compete with them to become the successor. If Ji-young doesn't become the successor, Ji-duke will take on that role. Meanwhile, young Ji-young arrives at the house and is surprised by Ji-young's new haircut. Ji-young asks Gai Sang how he's so skilled at cutting hair when he's bald, shocking everyone. Gai Sang claims that he, too, once had precious hair. Jong-sok wonders about Da-eun's whereabouts, only to find out she was sleeping with Han Gam after playing together. As they get ready to leave, Lee Yeji asks if she can hug the bear. Han Gam jumps into her arms, and she's surprised by how fluffy he is. Gai Sang watches, feeling jealous, as Han Gam doesn't react the same way when he hugs him. Meanwhile, as Jae Wook arrives outside, he calls for Gai Sang to join him. Jae Wook asks if he caught Kim Min-woo, and Gai Sang confirms that he did. They walk towards Kim Min-woo's location, and as they enter, Gai Sang's followers greet them. They're curious about the person with Gai Sang, and he introduces Jae Wook as the one he serves. They're all surprised but immediately greet him. Jae Wook mentions that they are the younger brothers of the Fire Bear gang, and Dae Wong is happy that he made the right choice last time. As Jae Wook notices Kim Min-woo, who is tied up and bloodied, he demands a detailed explanation of Si-won's plan. However, Kim Min-woo insists that Si-won had no involvement and apologizes, stating it was his own decision. Jae Wook questions how Kim Min-woo can be certain that he won't be killed by Si-won if he returns in his current state. When Kim Min-woo remains uncooperative, Jae Wook orders Gai Sang to educate him, kicking him in his broken leg, causing him to scream out in agony. Despite the pain, Kim Min-woo maintains that Si-won was not involved. After a second kick to the other leg breaks his bone and renders him unconscious, Jae Wook turns to the other members and threatens them with the same treatment if they refuse to confess. They all shout at once, claiming that Si-won was involved. Gai Sang becomes annoyed and slaps them, demanding that they speak one by one. Jae Wook warns that their lives depend on the words they say next. When Kim Min-woo regains consciousness, Jae Wook questions if he's still willing to act alone. Kim Min-woo realizes he will die anyway while protecting Si-won. Jae Wook surprises him by mentioning that he knows about his younger brother Jeon-woo. This shocks Kim Min-woo, who wonders how Jae Wook could know about him. Jae Wook points out that Si-won will go after his brother, making Kim Min-woo realize that he acted carelessly by involving Jeon-woo in the operation and that he has failed unexpectedly. Jae Wook presents a solution for both of them to survive, but Kim Min-woo is unsure of what it could be. Jae Wook then proposes that Kim Min-woo continues as Si-won's right-hand man while keeping their discussion and the current situation a secret. In return, Kim Min-woo will report to Jae Wook about all of Si-won's actions. After hesitating, Kim Min-woo ultimately agrees to the terms. Gai Sang then takes out his razor as Jae Wook states he has made his decision. As they shave his head, Jae Wook suggests letting his followers grow their eyebrows out, making them cry tears of joy. Gai Sang is annoyed with how happy they are getting, but they notice and quickly get back in line. After Gai Sang finishes shaving his head, Jae Wook asks if he knows what to say to Si-won. Kim Min-woo states that he will tell him he was in a car accident and shaved his head as a fashion statement for a side job. Jae Wook is pleased with the story and takes his leave, asking to speak to Gai Sang outside. Jae Wook explains that if he wants to raise good followers, he has to treat them sometimes. He also mentions that they now have an advantage since Kim Min-woo is on their side, and they will know Si-won's next moves. Jae Wook asks Gai Sang if they were to become enemies with Si-won, would he be able to kill him? To which Gai Sang claims he can. Jae Wook pauses with a serious face for a second before claiming that he's just joking and that it won't get to that point. He then asks Gai Sang to listen to what he says and thanks him for everything before taking his leave. As Gai Sang enters the lair, he orders his followers to release Kim Min-woo, but as they untie him, Kim Min-woo collapses to the ground, screaming in pain as both of his legs are broken. Despite his pleas for an ambulance, they ignore him on the floor. Min-woo begs for help, and eventually, he is taken to the hospital and placed in a bed next to his brother. Meanwhile, some of the Red Dragon gang members discuss Kim Min-woo, with one member claiming he is taken care of by Gai Sang himself and that there won't be any problems. However, Taebong Jang questions whether that plan makes sense, suggesting that they may have to resort to Plan B if Min-woo fails. While speaking with his followers, Gai Sang announces his plan to create a secret service unit to protect the young master. Although they express gratitude, Gai Sang believes they are too weak and lack fighting power. He reveals that Kim Min-woo will be joining them soon as number 5. Gai Sang orders them to fight among themselves to determine their rank between 1 to 5, causing panic. However, he assures them that they will have plenty of time to get stronger since Kim Min-woo is in the hospital with both legs broken, saying, "Prepare to take them to Fire Bear Mountain." Meanwhile, Jeon-woo is dreaming that he's on a boat with his brother when the boat suddenly starts sinking, and his brother disappears, causing him to panic. He screams as he wakes up and realizes it was just a dream. Chan-woo asks if he's okay, but Jeon-woo wonders if he's still dreaming since he sees his brother in front of him. Chan Wu explains that things got a little messy, which causes Jian Wu to panic even more when he notices that both of his legs are broken. He wonders who could have caused this as he tries to stand up. The pain in his stomach stops him, but then his brother reassures him that everything is going to be fine and apologizes for getting him involved in the situation. Jian Wu questions why there is a need for an apology, as it was his weakness that led to the loss of the fight and now the situation they find themselves in. Chan Wu responds that they only have one option for survival and urges Jian Wu to do as he says. He reflects on his previous conversation with Jae Wook, where they discussed working for him in secret and providing information about C1's future actions. Chan Wu informs Jian Wu that Zhang is likely to form a new alliance. Jian Wu, feeling frustrated, expresses a desire for revenge. However, Chan Wu explains that even if Jian Wu gets his revenge, it will be meaningless if he doesn't survive the aftermath. He suggests that joining the alliance is the only viable way for Jian Wu to ensure his survival. Jian Wu hesitates to make a decision but ultimately agrees to follow Chan Wu's advice and decides that he will join the alliance, although he has initial doubts. Jian Wu trusts Chan Wu's judgment, and Chan Wu thanks him for listening. Meanwhile, at the house, Myung-jun invites Young Jian to the rooftop for a smoke. As they arrive at the rooftop, Myung-jun has a serious expression on his face. He asks Young Jian about his plans for the future, to which Young Jian replies that he wants to study, learn new skills, and get a job. He asks Myung-jun what he wants to do, to which Myung-jun states he wants to become a gangster. They both pause for a moment before Young Jian starts laughing. He congratulates Myung-jun on finding something he wants to do and realizes that Jiyoung must have influenced him lately. Myung-jun expresses his desire to help Jiyoung become the Fire Bear gang boss. They both head back downstairs, and Myung-jun thanks Young Jiyeon for the talk. Meanwhile, Gai Sang and the followers arrive at Fire Bear Mountain as they begin their training. On the other hand, as Jae Wook walks back home, Sang Ji-yu carelessly barges into his shoulder, but Jae Wook chooses to let it slide as he is in a good mood today. Meanwhile, Sang Ji-yu panics and continues walking, annoyed at having been told to come to this location by someone. Upon arriving at the house, Han Gam warmly greets Jae Wook. Jiyoung quickly notices his return and rushes over to him, catching him playing with Han Gam. However, upon realizing that they are watching him, he quickly puts Han Gam down. He apologizes to Jiyoung's friends for embarrassing himself, but Do Park reassures him that it's nothing to be ashamed of, as they all reacted the same way to the bear. Afterward, Jae Wook requests a private conversation with Do Park and Jiyoung. As they reach the rooftop, Jae Wook commends the young master for defeating the Super Asshole Alliance and compliments his new haircut. He asks Jiyoung if he has decided on a name for his new alliance, to which he comes up with Bad Person, which Jae Wook likes. Jae Wook then instructs Do Park to organize the members of the new alliance, and he agrees to do so. With the celebratory talk out of the way, it's time for a serious conversation. Jae Wook tells Do Park to show Jiyoung the picture he took, revealing Kim Min-woo with Jian Woo. This shocks Jiyoung, who questions why they are together. Jae Wook explains that they are brothers and that Kim Min-woo's real name is Eun Chan Woo. Jiyoung wonders if Uncle Si-won knows that Chan Woo is his right-hand man. Jae Wook confirms that Si-won knew and even refused to let Chan Woo and Jian Woo leave. Jae Wook does not tell him the truth about Si-won but mentions that they allowed Jian Woo to join their alliance, which shocks both Jiyoung and Do Park. Jiyoung expresses confusion as he is a member of the Red Dragon Gang and fears that Si-won will be angry if they find out. Jae Wook suggests that if Jian Woo joins their alliance, they will be able to protect him from Si-won's wrath. He argues that it would be better for Jiyoung to have Jian Woo in their alliance than to stay with the Red Dragon Gang, considering how strong he is. Jiyoung agrees to let Jian Woo join, and Jae Wook instructs him to head back down while he speaks to Do Park privately. During their conversation, Jae Wook expresses his concern that if Jian Woo refuses to join the young master, he is likely to lose his composure, something he wants to avoid. Jae Wook assigns Do Park the mission of persuading Jian Woo to join the young master's alliance and assures him that he has a plan in place to accomplish this task. He tells Do Park that once the job is done, they will greet the Fire Bear boss together. As Jae Wook heads back downstairs, Do Park suddenly receives a call from Won Young, the host at the Red Dragon Arena. She reminds him of their recent conversation at the cafe a few days ago, where she had questioned his reasons for joining the Red Dragon Arena as a Fire Bear gang member and speculated if he was there to spy on them. Do Park had responded by asking if she would believe him if he said he was only there to participate in the fights because he was bored. When she asks if she should believe him, Do Park nods and urges her to keep his Fire Bear gang membership a secret from her father. She agrees but then asks Do Park for a wish, promising to reveal the details of her wish later. Back in the present, Do Park realizes that the phone call from Won Young was regarding the wish she had asked him earlier. She requests to meet up with him later that day and promptly ends the call. Her friends, curious about the identity of the person on the other end of the line, ask her about it. She teases them by revealing that she plans to make him her boyfriend. On his way back down, Do Park informs Ji-young that the alliance system will need to be based on a ranking system. He explains that he will be at the top as the leader, followed by the vice leader, officers, general members, and so on. He asks Ji-young to provide him with the names of everyone in the group so that he can organize the ranking. Ji-young expresses his gratitude for the help, and as they step outside to meet up with the others, Do Park advises Lee Yi-ji not to leave Ji-young's side, emphasizing the importance of their plan to make her Ji-young's girlfriend. She assures him that she understands and walks away, but this frustrates Do Park since he knows that the success of their operation hinges on keeping Lee Ye-ji close to Ji-young. When he meets up with Won Young at a cafe, they decide to take a walk together. She asks why Do Park chose the Fire Bear Gang instead of the Red Dragon Gang. Do Park explains that while the Red Dragon Gang is good, he has a relationship with the Fire Bear Gang members. They take a seat on a bench, and Do Park asks Won Young why she wanted to meet up. She claims that she just wanted to see him. Do Park wonders if she is in love with him. However, he is worried that he can't afford to be in love because it's seen as a weakness. Nevertheless, he tells himself that there is nothing wrong with staying close to the daughter of the Red Dragon Gang leader. Do Park claims that he misses Won Young too but secretly plans to use her to gather information on the Red Dragon Gang. She wraps her arms around his arm, causing him to blush. He begins to realize that love may not be so bad after all but bonks himself on the forehead and slaps himself, reminding himself that he is a man who values honor over love. Meanwhile, as Myung-jun and Young Ji-yeon take their leave from the group, Lee Ye-ji suggests making a logo for the new alliance. Ji-young agrees, and Jong-sok comes up with the logo of the bad guys. They both like it, and Lee Ye-ji takes her leave to start ordering the logos and uniforms. Meanwhile, at the Fire Bear Gang branch, Si-won receives a call from Chan-woo who tells him that he was in a car accident and that both of his legs were smashed. Si-won wonders if someone deliberately caused the accident, but Chan-woo claims it was just a simple accident and apologizes for being a burden to him. Si-won reassures him that it's okay and tells him to focus on recovering and taking care of himself before coming back. Chan-woo is moved to tears by his kindness, and as the call ends, he starts crying, feeling sorry for betraying Si-won. Ji-yeon-woo also begins crying after seeing his brother cry. The nurse walks in and tells Ji-yeon-woo to lie down straight because he's twisting the IV lines. As Ji-young walks alone, he contemplates his next steps to expand to other regions as his father wishes. He realizes he needs to work harder to become even stronger and wants to learn new special moves, never knowing when he'll encounter someone like Ji-yeon-woo. Meanwhile, Sang Ji-yu is watching him from a distance, taking pictures. He's annoyed that Ji-young stabbed him in the back and claims his vengeance begins now. It turns out that Park Han-byul told him to take the pictures. A couple of days ago during the Mujin High fight, Sang Ji-yu had planned to visit the school and stab Ji-young or Young Ji-yeon if he had the chance. On his way, he notices that Park Han-byul is tied up. As Sang Ji-yu takes the tape off his face, he asks Park Han-byul if he's good at fighting and if he knows Ji-young and can beat him up. He requests that Sang Ji-yu freeze his arms and legs, but Sang Ji-yu declines, saying he will decide to do that after he hears his answer to his question. Park Han-byul claims that he can, but Sang Ji-yu wonders if he's weak since he's tied up and asks how old he is. Park Han-byul reveals that he's only 17 and in this situation due to the cowardly moves of Young Ji-yeon, which shocks Sang Ji-yu. He smirks and claims that he's the one who understands his anger towards Young Ji-yeon. After freeing him, Sang Ji-yu tells Park Han-byul to refer to him as his older brother since Sang Ji-yu is 18. Park Han-byul asks if he wants to be treated as an older brother but questions Sang Ji-yu about what would happen if Ji-young found out that he freed him, making Sang Ji-yu panic. Realizing that he misunderstood the situation, Sang Ji-yu punches himself in the face, which surprises Park Han-byul. He tells him to tell Ji-young, but Sang Ji-yu claims that he would tell Ji-young that he was beaten up by Park Han-byul and had no choice but to let him go. Then Sang Ji-yu asks who Ji-young would be more likely to believe. Park Han-byul starts laughing, and Sang Ji-yu asks him if he wants to fight. Park Han-byul faces him, introduces himself, and tells Sang Ji-yu that he will be forming an anti-Ji-young alliance, which Sang Ji-yu agrees to join. As they walk together, Park Han-byul is calling someone, and Sang Ji-yu wonders who it is. Meanwhile, at Fire Bear Mountain, Gai Sang asks his followers what animals have in common, as they don't know. Gai Sang claims that they walk on all fours, unlike them. With a serious look, he then tells them that it's the start of their special training and instructs them to start walking on all fours. While hanging out with Park Han-byul, Sang Ji-yu sees that he's talking on the phone with someone named Kong Ji-I-chan. Sang Ji-yu wonders about Ji-I-chan's connection to Ji-young Park Han-byul, so he asks him to keep his promise. Ji-I-chan swears to prioritize Han-byul, but Sang Ji-yu insists on knowing who was on the call because he's already on the same side. Han-byul glares at Sang Ji-yu, calls him an idiot, kicks him, and refuses to share information. Sang Ji-yu vows to get revenge on Ji-young and plans to use Park Han-byul. He sends something to Han-byul, who claims it will be easier once Ji-I-chan makes his move, anticipating Ji-young's group will grow. Sang Ji-yu suggests getting more people on their side, but Han-byul laughs, mentioning people holding grudges against Ji-young. He leaves, telling Sang Ji-yu to think better. Sang Ji-yu wonders where he can find more support and remembers Jong Chul, who still holds a grudge against Ji-young while in prison. Meanwhile, at the park, Won-young wonders why Do Park slapped himself. He says it helped him calm down after seeing her. Won-young points out the many people around, and Do Park apologizes for embarrassing her. She offers to hit him next time, but he thanks her and wonders why she blushes. After cleaning, Won-young suggests dinner together, but Do Park refuses, saying he needs to visit someone in the hospital. Won-young understands and suggests taking a commemorative photo. They pose together, and as Do Park counts down, Won-young kisses him. They separate to catch their breath, and Won-young calls the photo perfect, promising to send it later. Do Park realizes it's the first time he's heard his heartbeat so loudly. He receives the photo and considers it the first day of their relationship. He reminds himself to meet Ji-woo at the hospital. Min-woo tells Ji-woo to proceed with the plan, and Ji-woo acknowledges it might take time. Si-won is in a hurry to address his plan with Min-woo. His head hurts thinking about Min-woo being in the hospital. Just then, someone asks Si-won why he's so serious and brings up their deal. Si-won then says he's going to be the successor. The boy looks at Ji-young's photo and thinks things will be fun. Turns out, he's Ji-young's younger brother, Kong Ji-I-chen. Back at the hospital, Min-woo is determined to protect his brother, remembering how Si-won got mad when Ji-young became the new gang successor. Min-woo thinks Si-won is just jealous of Jae-wook's success, the kid being looked after by Jae-wook who's getting all the attention. Si-won tells Min-woo to hinder Ji-young's progress. Min-woo knows Si-won is raising other successors and wonders what to do next. Suddenly, Do Park visits. The brothers are surprised to see him. Ji-woo, angry, swears to send Do Park to the intensive care unit. Min-woo tries to stop him, but Ji-woo is determined for revenge. Min-woo shouts Ji-woo's name, making him freeze. Min-woo tells him to calm down because they have a guest. Ji-woo complies, and Min-woo asks Do Park why he's there. Do Park respectfully greets Min-woo and puts down his visiting gift. Ji-woo is mad, thinking Do Park is mocking his brother. Min-woo realizes Do Park is now part of the gang. Remembering his own past, Min-woo, once a ruffian called Tarzan, met Si-won and ended up working with the Fire Bear gang. He respects Si-won a lot and sees a bit of his old self in Do Park. He encourages Do Park to work well, knowing he can climb mountains Min-woo couldn't. Ji-woo is confused about what's going on, so Min-woo asks Do Park again why he's visiting. Do Park just wants to greet Min-woo and say something to Ji-woo. Ji-woo says he doesn't want to talk to Do Park, and even though Min-woo glares at him, Ji-woo insists he doesn't want to listen. Min-woo tells Do Park to visit again next time, and Do Park smiles, respectfully saying goodbye. Ji-woo frustratingly glares at him, swearing to send him to the emergency room next time they meet. Min Woo warns Jian Woo not to get too worked up since he's still in the hospital. Jian Woo thinks other guests might be better than Du Park and wonders how to put the two back on his arm. Outside, Du Park wonders what's happening with Jae Wook and tries to contact Gai Sang, but Gai Sang is unreachable. Meanwhile, Gai Sang is in the mountains training the hairless numbers as part of the Fire Bear Gang's challenge. Enho complains he can't take it anymore, and Jong Min wants to leave the mountains. Gai Sang asks who complained, making the hairless numbers scared. Jong Min apologizes, and Gai Sang tells him to get up. Gai Sang reminds them that he brought them to the mountains to train their mentality and spirit to become proper human beings. Jong Min is touched by the true meaning of the training, and Gai Sang promises he'll get stronger in a few weeks. Jong Min swears not to run away anymore. Gai Sang tells him to move, and Jong Min starts walking on fours again. Young Rak feels his sweat dripping, and Dae Wong wonders if he knows the way. Young Rak tells Dae Wong to lead instead, and the two start a nervous war. Dae Wong looks behind them, sees no one, smiles, and gets up. Young Rak warns him not to get up, and the two glare at each other, trying to establish hierarchy. Enho wonders why they're fighting, and just then, a bush behind them starts rustling. Sorry for the interruption. Before proceeding, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. He tells the others to be quiet, but the two ruffians think he's playing games. They look behind and see a huge wild boar coming out of the bush. Meanwhile, at the Majin Temple, Won Hyo continues his Buddhist activities. He's frustrated after seeing his older sister, Won Young, kiss Du Park. He can't believe things moved so fast in their second meeting. The executives at the temple wonder why Won Hyo keeps hitting the wooden bell since he returned. Just when they think it's over, Won Hyo starts hitting the bell again. But he's actually hitting his own head, trying to push away impure thoughts about Won Young and Du Park. After his session, he goes out and finds the executives waiting for him. He feels embarrassed for showing himself to them, and his friends remind him not to worry too much about whatever he's thinking. Won Hyo realizes he forgot about his gang and got distracted by worries for his sister. He feels disqualified as the leader. They worry about what's on his mind, and Won Hyo doesn't want to lie to them. He reveals that Won Young is dating Du Park. The executives are shocked. Park Bong thinks it's a lie, and Megan believes wise Won Young wouldn't make a stupid choice like that. Won Hyo also shares that he saw them kissing, shocking the executives. He apologizes, saying they don't have the power now because Du Park is with the Fire Bears. Park Bong claims they can still take down Du Park together, and Megan agrees. He tells his friends there's only one possible way and asks them to join him on the path of extreme aestheticism, the only path they can take. Back in the mountains, young Rak sweats, seeing the monstrosity in front of them. Dae Wong wonders if they should run, but the menacing boar is oddly crying. Enho wonders why the boar is crying, and the boar walks slowly toward the bald trio. They freeze, praying for it to pass by with their eyes closed. The boar walks past Enho and the others, and they hope it's really passing by. They look at each other, relieved. Dae Wong admits he almost wet himself and asks young Rak if he's okay. Enho explains how young Rak's incredible luck saved them, but young Rak feels embarrassed to be praised for something he didn't do. Enho mentions the boar could grow bigger based on the internet, and the trio continues their discussion until Gai Sang appears and calls them out. The three cowards run to Gai Sang and tell him about their scary experiences. Gai Sang asks if they're sure they saw the boar, checks the footprints, and realizes it wasn't his archenemy. He also sees the boar that passed by is injured based on its footprints, knowing it's a female boar. He knows the group of boars is large and, after licking the ground, determines the boar is one of them. Gai Sang is happy to have found a training partner. He tells the hairless numbers to set up camp for the night. Later, Gai Sang discovers the cave area has been marked by boars, and the menu for tomorrow is decided. He tells his minions to rest for the night, assuring the Baldies that they'll have a great meal soon. Back in the city, Jae Wook sends Jiyoung to school. Some students notice him and talk about beating Jiyoung if they band together. Suddenly, Jong Sok appears, and they all get flustered. Jong Sok warns Jiyoung to be careful now that he's known. Jiyoung claims he can take on anyone. Lee Yeji, the brain of the new alliance, reminds him that he's now the alliance's leader. Jiyoung tells her to do the same since she's their brain. On their way to the classroom, students talk about how Jiyoung went from an angel to the leader of the bullies. The head teacher glares at Jiyoung, catching the attention of the student president, Dae Hyeon. He claims this wasn't the agreement. They agreed Ji-young would clean up the bullies, not become the top bully. Dae-hyeon tells him it's just the beginning, stating that Ji-young is competent enough to put every bully under him without bothering normal students. The head teacher agrees to observe more, instructing Dae-hyeon to ensure they don't mess up. Yeon-ji, the vice president, wonders what Dae-hyeon will do next. He says he can fight poison with poison, and Yeon-ji realizes Ji-young is making moves but asks about Dae-hyeon. Dae-hyeon doesn't know what to do next but isn't worried because Ji-young is different from other bullies. Ji-young meets his classmates, with Jong-yoon complimenting his new hairstyle. Joon-min is annoyed to see them on good terms, and Ji-young invites them to have a meal together, wondering where Sang Ji-yu is. Speaking of Sang Ji-yu, he visits Jong-chul in prison. Meanwhile, the teacher reminds the class that the test exams are coming soon. Ji-young invites his friends to eat, but most of them already have plans. Ji-young then tells Jong-yoon and Joon-min that he formed a new group called the Bad Guys, inviting them to join. Jong-yoon wonders why Ji-young is asking, and Ji-young says they are friends. However, Joon-min thinks they can't fight in badminton. The two decline, disappointing Ji-young. Jong-yoon insists they are still friends, but Joon-min thinks differently. Ji-young tells them not to worry. Meanwhile, Lee Yeji's friends talk about how it would be great if she dated Ji-young. They discuss the bad guy's uniform and speculate about other schools or groups that might target Ji-young due to recent rumors. One friend suggests that Do Park could help, but Lee Yeji doesn't want his assistance. On the other hand, Do Park is with Jong-sok, discussing Jong-sok's future plans with judo. Do Park mentions Jong-sok's father, and Jong-sok falls silent. Do Park changes the topic, mentioning that Ji-young's recent achievements are a test for becoming the successor of the Fire Bear gang. Do Park plans to follow Ji-young, but warns Jong-sok about an upcoming war. He advises Jong-sok to grow stronger and stay by Ji-young's side. Jong-sok tells him not to worry. Meanwhile, Sang Ji-yu offers Jong-chul an opportunity. Jong-chul laughs and wonders what it is. Han Byul then talks from a corner and introduces himself to Jong-chul. Han Byul offers help for Jong-chul to get his revenge, mentioning crushing Ji-young. Jong-chul falls silent and agrees that the situation is getting worse. They need to get out of Ji-young's way. After Jong-chul is released, Han Byul thanks him for his cooperation. Later, outside, Sang Ji-yu asks Han Byul again about Ji-I-chen. Han Byul tells him to chill, and just then, Ji-I-chen appears. Han Byul greets his old friend and introduces Sang Ji-yu. Ji-I-chen tells Sang Ji-yu to relax because he is younger, but the older Sang Ji-yu feels threatened. Ji-I-chen then tells him to move, and Han Byul wonders if Sang Ji-yu has prepared what he promised. Sang Ji-yu menacingly smiles. Later, they meet 5 delinquents that Sang Ji-yu has collected, and Han Byul compliments Sang Ji-yu. One of the troublemakers gets angry at Sang Ji-yu for tricking them into thinking Ji-young was coming. Han Byul glares at him and challenges him to a fight, but a delinquent with long hair tells everyone to calm down and focus on their plan to get revenge on Ji-young. They say Sang Ji-yu and Han Byul should stay away because they are smaller. Then, Ji-I-chen steps forward, wondering if the 5 of them can really bring down his big brother Ji-young. The delinquent with long hair attacks Ji-I-chen, and Han Byul tells Ji-I-chen not to kill them. Ji-I-chen takes a stance and quickly attacks with a 1-inch punch, sending the long-haired delinquent flying and bleeding. The other troublemakers worry about their friend on the ground, get mad, and provoke Ji-I-chen. However, Ji-I-chen is ready to take them on. The long-haired delinquent tells Ji-I-chen to stop, thinking Ji-I-chen is on the same level as Jong-sok. Ji-I-chen is glad someone finally realized something. Han Byul then tells them to start their plan. The other 4 try to refuse, but Han Byul threatens them, insisting they follow his instructions. Meanwhile, Ji-young, Jong-yoon, and Joon-min leave the restaurant. Ji-young invites them to the PC cafe, but the other 2 decline because they need to study. Ji-young wishes them well in their studies. Joon-min tells Jong-yoon to go with Ji-young alone, feeling uncomfortable with how Ji-young has changed. Jong-yoon gets mad, reminding him that he is still Ji-young. Joon-min claims that the angelic Ji-young is no more, and all that's left is a gangster. Ji-young, on the other hand, discovers Sang Ji-yu being beaten up by the delinquents. Sang Ji-yu acts like he's asking for Ji-young's help. Joon-yoon claims that Ji-young is not a bad guy. He only does what he thinks is right. Ji-young gets upset seeing Sang Ji-yu getting beaten up. Sang Ji-yu keeps crying for help, and Han Biel is impressed by Sang-gu's methodical acting. Ji Chen is unsure if his brother will be beaten or not. Jiyoung then asks the delinquents if they are tired of living already. They're ready to fight Jiyoung since Jong Sok is not around. Everyone jumps on him, and Jiyoung counters with his pickaxe technique. The delinquent screams in pain, and another delinquent kicks Jiyoung. Jiyoung gets pushed aside and kneels on the ground, recalling Gai Sang's words that a man gets stronger as he gets beaten up. He remembers how Gai Sang told him to always incapacitate his enemies. Jiyoung grabs the fallen delinquent and squeezes his leg, shattering the delinquent's dream of becoming a soccer player. Ji Chen sweats as he sees his brother's strong grip. The delinquent screams in pain when his ankle gets crushed. They call Jiyoung crazy, but Jiyoung reminds them of their own actions. One delinquent tries to fight back, but Jiyoung is too strong. Another one attacks, but Jiyoung dodges and breaks the delinquent's ribs, making him fall down in pain. The bald one can't believe Jiyoung got a lot stronger. Jiyoung calls him out and prepares to attack. The long-haired delinquent gets up and offers to help. Jiyoung prepares his grip strength as the remaining two delinquents charge forward. Jiyoung does the same and strikes the bald delinquent. The long-haired delinquent tries to use the moment to hit Jiyoung, who gets hit on the head by a wooden stick. Jiyoung glares at him and prepares his grip again, using a new self-developed technique befitting the title of the Fire Bear's successor. The delinquents are all on the ground, and Jiyoung walks towards Sang Ji-yu, who is genuinely scared now. Sang Ji-yu wonders if Jiyoung was originally this huge. Jiyoung checks on Sang Ji-yu, helps him get up, and they walk away. Han Biel compliments Jiyoung, and Ji Chen gets mad. Ji Chen thought Han Biel fought against Jiyoung, but Han Biel didn't. Ji Chen sees that his brother is stronger than expected and wonders how much stronger the man named Jong Sok is. Ji Chen then calls someone for reinforcement. A man relaxing at a poolside receives Ji Chen's call and wonders what's up. Meanwhile, Jiyoung tells Sang Ji-yu to always call for his help. Sang Ji-yu feels guilty, and some students notice him. Sang Ji-yu uses this chance to scare them with Jiyoung, and the students laugh at Sang Ji-yu for using Jiyoung's name. They leave scared, and Jiyoung wonders who they are. Sang Ji-yu plans to keep using Jiyoung's name, and the two continue to walk home. In the alleyway, Ji Chen is irritated by Han Biel's misinformation about Jiyoung, forcing Ji Chen to change plans. Han Biel apologizes, and Ji Chen tells him to wait for Jong Chul and Ji Sok so they can form a team. He reminds Han Biel of who he serves, and Han Biel's head is aching from the unexpected changes. He realizes that it wouldn't be fun if everything just went easily. On the other hand, Si-won finds Min Woo's accident weird and plans to personally check on Min Woo to see if he changed his mind. Si-won arrives at the hospital, and someone watches him enter the building. He got the order from Jae-wook to stand nearby and can't believe Si-won actually came. Si-won shows up in the brothers' hospital room, surprising Min Woo and Jeon Woo. Si-won tells them to relax and wonders when Min Woo's legs will recover. Min Woo suggests Jeon Woo get some fresh air, and Si-won is glad that Jeon Woo can walk. Jeon Woo leaves, worried about his brother. Si-won immediately asks if it was really an accident or not. Min Woo assures him it was an accident, and the negotiation with the other gang went well. Si-won is glad but can't wait for Min Woo to recover. Min Woo gets flustered when Si-woo points out Min Woo's failure to bring down Jiyoung. Min Woo wonders what to do with the alliance with the other gang, and Si-won tells him to take a vacation. Old men might move slowly, but the younger ones are restless. Si-won then informs him that Ji Chen is on the move. Jong Sok spends time with Da-eun, and they come across Ji Chen, who glares at them. Jong Sok wishes to pass by, but Ji Chen deliberately bumps into him. Jong Sok grabs Da-eun, checks if she's okay, and asks Ji Chen for an apology. Ji Chen playfully apologizes, making Jong Sok angry for the first time. Jong Sok tells his sister to go home by herself, gives her money for ice cream, but she refuses and runs away. Ji Chen calls Jong Sok, who knows Ji Chen came for him. Ji Chen lifts his arm and unleashes a 1-inch punch. Jong Sok manages to block it, but he still gets pushed. Jong Sok puts up a judo stance, and Ji Chen leaps forward, whirls his body, kicks Jong Sok, who grabs his pants and punches Ji Chen's face. Ji Chen surprisingly launches a kick while doing a handstand, following it up with a somersault kick, but Jong Sok dodges it. Ji Chen can't believe he's fighting a monster. Jong Sok wonders who he is and how far he can go. Ji Chen tells Jong Sok to stop acting scary and do things right. Da-eun returns, claiming she still wants ice cream, and the fighters get flustered. Ji Chen claims he lost the energy to continue and leaves, saying goodbye to Da-eun. The siblings wonder who Ji Chen was, and Jong Sok calls Ji-young to meet up. Ji-young meets Jong Sok and wonders what happened. Jong Sok is flustered seeing bloody Ji-young, who informs him that Jong Chol's gang fought him and proudly announces that he won alone. Jong Sok finds it weird that they were acting on their own and shares that someone just picked a fight with him. Ji-young can't believe someone confronted Jong Sok. Jong Sok finds it strange that they were attacked on the same day. Ji-young suddenly realizes something and calls someone. Lee Yeji is still discussing the bad guy's uniform with her friends. They think the design came out well, and Lee Yeji likes it. Her phone rings, and seeing it's from Ji-young, her friends tease her about them dating already. They put the call on speaker and listen to Lee Yeji and Ji-young's conversation. Ji-young worriedly asks if Lee Yeji is okay. Lee Yeji's friends start giggling, and she tells him she's with her friends. Ji-young is glad and shares that he and Jong Sok got attacked at the same time. They can't believe there's a madman attacking Jong Sok. Ji-young tells Lee Yeji to be careful too, and her friends find Ji-young sweet and worried for Lee Yeji. Lee Yeji gets embarrassed and tells him the call is on speaker. Ji-young reminds her that she is the brain of the group. The situation turns disappointing, and Lee Yeji asks Myung-jun and Young Ji-yeon if they got into a fight. Ji-young totally forgot about them and hurriedly says goodbye. Lee Yeji's friends claim that the attacker might be from outside the area and might keep coming. Sooner or later, the group might disappear before the uniform comes out. Lee Yeji is in it thinks of a plan B. Curious about what comes next? Click on this video to continue. And don't forget to like and subscribe.